Deploy an Azure Databricks workspace step in Azure portal. First of all, we log into the Microsoft Azure portal with our credential. Then we need to create the new resources, and then we are looking for the Databricks, because right now I want to work on the Azure Databricks. We will search Databricks in the search bar, select the Azure Databricks, click on the new create to create the new Databricks from the search result. In the Azure Databricks pane, click on the Create button to start the workspace creation. Here you can have a subscription. We use our Azure Student subscription. For the resource group, we can use the different resource group that we have, or we can create the new resource group. I create the new resource group and name it student Databricks resource group. We need the new resource workspace. We just say student workspace, and we stay in the same region. And the pricing trigger, we have 3 options: standard, premium, or trail. We stick onto the premium. And for the region, we just choose the region where you want to deploy your Databricks. For the virtual network, it will be our next step. If you want to use the virtual network with the Databricks, we have to configure the virtual network setting. We have also the advanced tab. If we need to encrypt our data to manage our disk or manage our services, we just stay on the same configuration. In the tag bar, it is optional, and you can add tag to your Databricks workspace for better resource management tag. And this part, it is optional. Then we can say review and create. Review the setting you have provided the previous step, and if everything looks correct, you can say that review and create. You can see here our validation is failed, and means that we have to provide some information. It means that there is some missing value on the basic side. We will come back here and say we could see that they have some issues on our resource group. So we create the new resource group. The name, it will be a student, for example, a student Databricks resource group, and say okay, and then check again to make sure that everything it's okay. As you can see, the validation it succeed. Then we say create. When your Azure Databricks workspace created is completed, we need to select Launch Workspace to open our Databricks workspace in the new tab. But the deployment it takes time. We just wait maybe 2 or 3 minutes. As you know, the Azure Databricks is a cloud-based big data and machine learning platform that runs on the Microsoft Azure, and it provides you the workspace for the data engineers and data scientists to process and analyze and even virtualize the large amount of data with the Apache PySpark. And it will be help us these infrastructures that to manage the large amount of data, as I said, and it has the this opportunity to scalable very fast, and the Azure Databricks simplified and accelerates data analyst task and make it easier to extract the valuable insights from the big data. Right now, we go to our resources. And then we select or launch our workspace to open our Databricks. Ask us to use our credential to access our Databricks environment. In the left-hand side of our menu, we can see that we can create a cluster. We select the compute to create new clusters or compute. Because right now we are working on the a student account, so we select to instead of multiple node, use the single nodes, and in that single node you can log in with your credential, and then we have a different Databricks runtime version. As you can see, we have different versions that we could select each one of them that is compatible with our environments. And also we have a node type. In the node type, we have different type of nodes. As you can see, for different purpose, we can select different nodes, but because right now we are working on a small project and just want to demonstrate how to create the new clusters and then import the notebook. So we select the minimum memories and core. For the terminated after 2 hours, it means that after 2 hours, if you don't work with your Databricks, it will be automatically terminated. We can change it to the 60 minutes or more or less. And then we say create a compute. After you creating your Databricks workspace, it is the time to create your first notebook. To execute your notebook, you will attach that cluster you created in the previous exercise to your notebook. A notebook is a collection cells. These cells are run and execute code, and when we select the new notebook, you can see here you can change the name and provide the name for your notebook and say, for example, a student test 1. And for the language, we have different language and it depends on what you want to use for your notebook. We have Python, SQL, Scala, and R. The cluster, it should be selected and shows selected from your connected. And you can see here, because we have just one cluster, it will be connected automatically to our notebook. But if we have several cluster, it means that we have this chance to choose which cluster connected to that specific notebook. To create the notebook, where once you have filled in the required details and then create button, the new notebook, it will be created. And we can type in any languages that we want, especially Python or SQL or PySpark, and then save. And exactly the same as the Python environment, we can run each one of that cells or run all the cells in the same time. The next step is that when we want to import or attach the notebook to our environment. For that one, we have to open the notebook that you want to attach to our cluster, and then select the cluster at the top right corner of the notebook, and then we will find and drop down the label and select the attach, and click on the drop down menu to see a list of available cluster in your Databricks, and select that specific cluster and attach to your notebook. Now we have to go to the workspace, and from here you can import your notebook that already exists to your environment. For this part, you open the workspace, select the user, and then under that username, we just select import. We can import our notebook as a file or URL to our environment. Select the browse, and then we will go, for example, to lecture 3, and we will go to the PySpark SQL and select the first one as a import document, and then import. As soon as you import the document, you could see that document, it will be available and you can run right away, but it's dependent on what is the source or data that it should be connected to your notebook, exactly the same as Python, that you need some resources or data set that you start working on that specific data. The other things maybe I have to mention here, as soon as you select your cluster and click on that cluster, you can disconnect that cluster from your environment. or connected to that specific, or you can choose and select the other cluster and connected to that specific cluster based on your requirement. You can detach that cluster, you can detach and reattach. If you have some issues, you can restart your cluster, terminate, and you can do some of the configuration on your cluster as well. Okay, the next step is that when you wanna import your data to your environment, first of all, let me just go through another example. For example, here just say import, then browse and show you one more time. Spark material, no, we just go for the okay. As soon as you open your data frame, your notebook, you can see that you need to import your table to this environment as well, because we are working on the cloud. Sometimes your data set, it's part of the GitHub. Sometimes you have that data set on your PCs or servers or laptop, and you need to import that data to your environment. So for that specific reason, we have to just go through the sorry, I'm just looking for specific data. Okay, as you can see here on your notebook, we need our specific data in the specific location. So we will go through the data ingestion and then create or modify table. We have different options. As you can see, you can use the blob, or you can use data lake, or Snowflake, or Kafka, or the other resources that add your data on that specific part. So we just select to create a table, and then here we just browse, and we will go through our lecture 3 that we already have here. And then we will go to lecture 3, we will go through the data and select our employee data and create and select the specific cluster that it will be work with that specific data. As you can see, because we are working for leverage Spark to read this table on behalf of you, you will need to specify the cluster to run that code. And we say preview. You can have some preview of your table. As you can see, this is a table name we have created in the database as a default. The file type, it will be CSV at the end, and also they will be distinguished from each other by column. So we say create the table. Okay, part of our catalog for default under the Hive, you can find and see your data that you imported. Okay, it will be part of your catalog. You can find your table, some of the details about that, and the permission that it will be added to that specific one. Here, don't worry about this amount of error. And the only part is so important that the employee data set is imported to our environment. We will be back to our workspace, select our notebook, and after you run your notebook, that is it's the PySpark with the PySpark language. You can see the result for each part of that cells of your table that are run step by step. With this video, I just show you how you can create the Databricks environment, how to import the data, and how to create the cluster, and where you can find your table under the catalog, and also where you can import your data, and how you can create or import the notebook to your Databricks environment, and then start to working on your notebook based on your data set.